Good afternoon, Dave Groon.
Hey, Mark Hoffman.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Are we on?
We're on, I think.
Are we? Hey,
Yeah.
we've been talking a lot. I'm looking at Facebook and see if anyone else is joining us here. Usually
Yes.
I don't have my computer. So anyway, we talk a lot about this month about being in the story.
Yes.
Dude, we're daggum in the story.
We're in the
I don't know if
story.
I've ever been this close to the birth of Jesus. Is it showing up on camera? Can you see that?
We're in the nativity.
We're in the nativity. Yeah, we definitely are. We got the star here. Yeah, there you go. You're like a star right there. You got Joseph kneeling at your
Look at that.
feet. That's good. All right, that's cool.
Who's the dude with the gray hair?
Well, the guy with the bald spot in the back is me, and the guy with the gray hair would be you.
It's so funny that you don't think about that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, we were just looking at some pictures. I met you in 2012, and
Yep.
you had a lot of darker hair.
yeah, it wasn't so gray. I
Wow.
had somebody recently tell me like, "Oh wow, they hadn't seen me," and they were like, "Wow, you're really gray." I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
We saw some folks over in
Yeah.
September that hadn't seen in a while, and they were shocked how white I was. Not as a person. That may also
Not
be
my
true.
general pale color.
But my hair color, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
It's Christmas.
It is Christmas, and we're on the Christmas set, the Christmas scene.
Yeah. So
We're doing this thing.
I have a question. Are you a Christmas guy?
What makes a Christmas guy?
Well, am I like, there's people who are like Christmas people, and then there's people like me who aren't Christmas people.
I have moments.
Okay.
Like there's moments I really feel like I enjoy Christmas, and actually this Christmas I think I'm going to enjoy it more.
Why is that?
Which I'm going to try and say this without throwing Terry under the bus. Typically, we were both working, and I felt like I had a lot more capacity to just get her done. So a lot of it fell to me. But this year, Terry's been retired since the summer, and she's tagged in completely. So I'll
Wow.
show, yeah, stockings, gifts, the whole 9 yards. So I think I'm liking Christmas more this year. It may be a little more fun. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Of course, she's probably worked to the bone, but how about you? Are you a Christmas guy?
I'm not.
What makes you not a Christmas guy?
Well, you know, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's never been a big thing for me. And like growing up,
Did you get wounded as a child or what?
I must have. No, really, I must have.
Like,
There was, I don't know. I don't know why. Like, what makes people like, hey, I love birthdays and holidays, or people go, hey, I don't. I mean, because I think, you know, growing up, like my brother, I think it was like a really big deal. And for me, it's like, it's okay. So maybe it was, I can blame it on wounding as a child or something.
so people
I don't
feel
know.
bad for folks who aren't Christmas people. That's why it can't come out as a non-Christmas person?
Yeah, it's
You're
hard to
not
say
saying you
that.
don't believe in the birth of Jesus. We get all that.
No,
But just
I'm
the
a
whole
huge
Christmas,
birth of Jesus person.
Yeah, we're huge on that. But the huge hype of the lights and the gifts and the fun
Yeah.
and the excitement and like, yeah, you kind of get to Christmas Day. And I'm not whining or complaining. And this year, who knows what will happen. But by the time I get home, Christmas Eve, I'm spent.
Yeah.
I've smiled, taken pictures, and whatever it takes, right? People are like, take my picture. Okay, I'll take your picture. Like, Christmas is a lot of work.
Yeah.
We only work twice a year, Christmas and Easter.
Christmas
so
and Easter.
Yeah. So it's a little different.
Whether we need to or not.
And this year we are having Christmas still. We keep saying
Yes.
that, and it kind of fits in with our theme. God is still with us, and we're still
with us.
having Christmas.
Still having Christmas.
as far as we know,
Yes.
on all three campuses.
Christmas Eve.
I think a couple of the services on the Harrison Lane campus in the live venue, I think, are already full.
Yes,
So there's
4:30
two-
and 6.
so
And the
the-
live venue are full. And so we're going to ask people to make reservations in Amped or Blend during those times. And yeah, so I want to
there's-
say thank you to people. Thank you to people who have registered
Yeah.
already. And if you hadn't, go ahead and make your times. And Roane County's filling up, and Bearden isn't filling up yet, but I'm sure they will. And maybe we'll end up having to even add times. Or
I was out of
change
Bearden on
times.
Sunday.
Yeah.
That's just a fun place, man.
is a
I
cool
can't wait
place.
till we can get back and enjoy our campuses again. That's just a great campus.
It is.
Good
It's gonna
folks
be-
there.
It's going to be an incredible opportunity when they can open the doors of that place to the community and really leverage the space. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through Christmas, but then you have a book there.
Are we going there already?
I don't know.
Well, I guess we are.
We can
Actually, it's
go- we
pretty
can go
cool.
to other
There's,
stuff,
there's a
but-
book. I thought you had personally written this book, but apparently you haven't. It's a book that's
You
already.
thought I was promoting a book I had
So,
written.
wow, you're pushing your own book. Like, you can get it for $3 or $5 on Amazon. I'm like, wow. Like, I think we have rules in our handbook against that. But okay, we'll go with that.
I'm not written.
But yeah, it's called 21 Days of Breakthrough Prayer, and one of the authors is Daniel Henderson. He was just here a few years ago.
a couple
I
years
think it
ago.
was 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
A couple years ago, Daniel was here.
And we love about that is just really our heart his heart is praying the scriptures back to God and just being in the Word and obviously in prayer. And so one of the things we're really excited about in the beginning of 2021 is we're going to individually, as you challenged us last week, to dig deep, to gird up the loins of our mind.
Yeah.
For
If
those
you-
people who did look for it, like you give a next step.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to, hey, there's a note in your Bible, like gird up the loins of your mind. That's pretty graphic.
It is pretty graphic.
But I really do think that
I
that's
translated that as dig deep.
dig deep. Yeah, probably more user friendly on the weekend. But I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really an awesome opportunity for us as individuals to actually, like everybody, the beginning of the year is just a good time to hit reset, to go back to some values and some commitments that we know we need to be making and doing and living in such a way that 2021 produces the kind of life that we long to be living in. And
Yeah.
so individually, we're going to dig deep. We're going to actually go through 21 days of breakthrough prayer together, praying individually for stuff, but together corporately as we together do this on all three of our campuses and all of the community that represents Two Rivers Church.
Yeah.
Plus, we'll do stuff on the weekends and other stuff to tie it in. But if you haven't gotten your book, get your book. You can get your book at any of our campuses, or you can go online at Amazon. I think it's $2 more there, but you can download it from Amazon,
Yeah.
right?
You can put it on your Kindle.
Kindle, yeah.
You know, you asked the other day, you're like, hey, what's the goal with this? And it's not anything other than to really to go, what's it look like for me to be intentional about loving Jesus? What's it look like for me to develop some depth and be intentional? And so it's not like, sometimes as churches, we call people to pray when it's like, hey, we're thinking about a new thing. Hey, we're getting ready to do a capital campaign, so we're entering into a season of prayer. And so the thing about this is there's not like, there really isn't an agenda behind it.
No, there's no hidden secret.
There's no hidden thing. There's no agenda behind it. Other than, I think just across the board, no matter where people are in the spectrum of Christianity, there's a need for recharging, a need for reminding ourselves of what's really important, of reconnecting with Jesus. And the only way to do that is through prayer. And I think people, like, we could just say, hey, spend the first 21 days of the new year praying together. Or we could say, hey, what if we all prayed in the same kind of direction? And that's all this resource does. There's nothing special about it other than it allows us to all pray from the same page. And it's all about the personal journey. But I think if we're all in that personal journey, it allows us all to be connected in a trajectory as a church. And so hopefully this will be the first time of lots of times where we call our church to pray together. Every time I'll have a different kind of take, but this time is particular, like, just no agenda. What if you just said, hey, for 21 days to love Jesus?
Yeah, to love Jesus. One of the things that, it's the whole imagery. I know we have an event on during the week on a couple of our campuses right now called The Well, but it was an image that I had early on in my walk with God. Like I felt like oftentimes I'd get to the bottom of the well in ministry. Like I'd be digging things up, like, and giving people all I had, but there was nothing to pull from except what was kind of sludgy down there on the bottom. And unless that's being filled up, there's nothing to give. There's nothing to actually, not only for your own heart and life and the people that are around you and your family and your friends, but there's nothing to give in life to other people. And I think one of the things that excites me about this, I think God's just going to use this as this tool to actually allow us to really fill our well, to move through not just January, but move maybe into this next chapter of life with some depth, some dependency on the things of God, our relationship with God in a way that maybe we've gotten sidetracked or gotten distracted, or it's become another burner on a big stove after the year we've been through.
Yeah.
But it's a really good time to regroup. And I know that people join gyms, come back to church, whatever, on the beginning. Well, let's capitalize on that. If it's a reset button and it's a New Year's Eve kind of thing, let's do it
Spiritual
together.
health.
Yeah, let's go after it. Like, I think someone challenged us this past weekend. Hey, don't be spitting at the things at Christmas and all that. Like leverage it, right?
Leverage it.
Lights, leverage Santa, leverage New Year's resolutions. Hey, let's be resolved this next year to pursue Jesus, to really go after him hard.
It's really been like my conviction lately is around. So we hold things in intention of what's God's part, what's my part, and we tend to fall down in one of those two directions. We don't hold that intention very well. Like we either fall down in the, well, that's all God's up to, or hey, that's my part and I got to dig deeper and try harder. And trying to live in that tension of it is God's part and there is my part. And that way, I know that I had gone through like deep conviction about that before this weekend. Like there is my part. There is guarding up the loins of my mind part. There's a direct my thoughts part. And so I can either choose to see what's wrong with everything, or I can use it as a spiritual discipline. So if I'd use that as hey, use the things that are wrong with Christmas as a spiritual discipline to point you in the right trajectory, that would have been language people would have a hard time understanding. But that's what really has happened throughout Christianity as a history, is how do we take a pagan holiday and convert it into a Christian holiday? Well, okay, well, let's do that. Let's take the things and give them fuller meaning. Let's take things and go, wow, how do I take the Christmas tree and lights to remind myself that Jesus is the light of the world?
So it sounds to me like we're going full circle here. Like maybe you are a Christmas guy. Maybe you are a Merry Christmas happy guy. Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't have the small, tiny heart, the Grinch, like we thought you did. Maybe your heart is getting bigger.
Have that. I've always loved. I do love to give my kids presents and to see the fun of that. No doubt about that. You know, so that aspect. But just like I think of like Christmas people. And I don't.
Who are those people? Who are the Christmas people?
Yeah, like the Hallmark movie crowd.
Well,
you know, like you have the Hallmark movies, and that's just.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Yeah, I get it. Like, no, if that's the question, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, but you're like the.
I like It's a Wonderful Life movie guy.
Yeah. So I'm so much like not a Christmas person that I have a hard time. I want to be clear. My wife decorated our Christmas tree, and she does an amazing job. It looks like it's in it's in a department store. So like a few years ago, she like, hey, I had always wanted to have like a department store kind of Christmas tree, and she does an incredible job at it. But I like carry the boxes and stuff, and then because I'll just
that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and thanks to TikTok, it looks even better this year. It looks amazing. So all that to say, that's what I think of. Like I'm not the one going, hey, let's get the huge thing out in the yard and blow it up and Christmas and this and this and this and this. But I am all about Jesus, so that aspect of it, I'm all in.
All right, nobody's questioning you all about Jesus. Right. Hey, I was at the sink the other day in my kitchen. I think it was Friday, and I saw this like we live pretty close to our neighbors. Like you could fall out of my house and hit your head on the neighbor's house. So if something's happening in their yard, we're pretty much aware. And I was at the sink, and in my peripheral, I just saw this like whiteness. I thought, is it snowing? And they put up this it's like a 20-foot snowman. It's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. It feels like it's gonna come towards you or attack. So that stuff makes me smile and laugh. Does it make you laugh or smile or?
Oh yeah. I mean, if my neighbors want to put a giant snowman, which they have in their yard, I'm all for that. I think that's great. That's so great. I just don't want to have to put it out of my yard. Like I'm already disgruntled about having to do stuff in my yard anyway. So there's a whole long wounding to go along with that.
There you go.
So. Yeah, so anything else coming up in the life of Two Rivers that we need to know?
Yeah, there's lots of stuff, but how much do you want to discuss today? How much time do we have, Evan?
We have a few more minutes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I don't want to go, I get pegged for being like the Mr. Gloomy guy.
You do.
This is really hard. And part of that's true.
Yeah.
I probably do look at life a little heavier than I should, or most people do. But it is, I'm not complaining either, but it is a challenge and difficult at times to continue to lead and manage in a world and environment where there's just so many different opinions that come in like almost every day. And not asking people not to have opinions or express them, because I mean, we've actually made a lot of our decisions and choices about our decisions, about hearing from people and, hey, where are our folks at? What's going on in the news? What's happening in the world? But what's happening in our world? And how do we provide safe environments? And I just want to say we're doing all we know to do, and we get up every day. I mean, I get up every day. I know you do too. I know we do as a staff, and ask God, what does it look like to be obedient today in terms of being church leaders, in terms of being followers of Jesus, and doing this thing that we call church. And I'm way past thinking you could please anybody, because no matter what decisions we've made, we're not pleasing everybody.
Yeah.
And whatever decision you make, you're making a choice, I guess, to not please some and please others. And so it's really not about the pleasing piece. I feel like at the end of the day, I got to go home and sleep at night.
Yeah.
You got to go home and sleep at night. And so the only way I know to do that is and I'm not trying to self-promote, but get on my knees and pray and ask God, like, what does it look like for us to lead right now? And we believe we're hearing from God. We believe we're moving forward. Some of this, like the effort, energy going into January is in response to that, which is really exciting. I think that's exactly where we need to be and continue to be. And between now and then, we're making all the best decisions we know to make. And so,
yeah, no, I really, I read a blog post just in the last day about, like there's a lot of things we point to in history and say there's never been a time like, and we've talked a little bit about, you go back in history and the political landscape in America was a mess. You know, they used to like shoot each other in duels, and people were really as corrupt as corrupt.
I was listening to a podcast about Grover Cleveland. You can't listen to that with your kids. Anyway.
No. I mean, it's just not a great history. And yet, like within the church, at least in my time in leading in the church, it's as difficult as ever, because you get faced with decisions where you go, there's no good decision. Like that's the conundrum. I get, like, doctors face that with patients. Like, I have this patient, and the diagnosis is terminal, and we can either manage it with path A or path B. But usually in local church kind of environments, or even in businesses, I mean, businesses are facing the same thing. Like, there's no good decision, or there's only bad decisions. And that's just, in the local church, that's just not usually been the case. And so when you go, oh, this is constant, the constant friction. And then, like, you don't even think the thing that you're communicating unintentionally along the way. And that's always true, but I feel like it's just heightened right now. The things that we're unintentionally communicating that we never meant to communicate, and it's totally not on purpose. And we just are doing like you say, all the time, doing the best we know to do.
Yeah, I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm saying that as a statement. We're doing the best we know to do every day.
Yeah.
And tomorrow will be a new day.
Yeah. And as a staff, we pray, and yet I'm excited. Like, we live in the tension of the majority of our church is still online. And yet we live in the tension of, we just don't want to stay paused forever. And so, moving the little pieces, we talked about in our video, moving those little pieces of this vision that we believe God has given us forward in little pieces at a time. And so we are still moving forward, but we know that we can't press go until we're on the other side of whatever this looks like, and people are gathering again, and we're able to assemble people in a way that we can say, okay, hey, this is the trajectory we believe that God is calling us to.
Yeah, and we've kidded it sometimes, like, there's some upsides to not COVID, the disease, but the time frame we've been in, right? And so I think what's been really fun to get after, while we've been in some ways not able to get after this big vision, is to ensure that we're solidifying our values. And so it's been really fun for the leadership team, the elders, to kind of go back and re-articulate, this is who we are intentionally, so this is who we want to be, this is who we're going to continue to commit to being, and then kind of walking that stuff out with our leaders and our staff. And so before, it was going to be as we go, and so it's been kind of, I think it's been fun. Maybe fun's not the right word, but for me, it actually has been fun for me to see us actually get a handle on the clarity of who we are and why we are this way, and why God called us and put us here for this reason, for these purposes. So now, I hope when the floodgates open again,
yeah,
the foundation's been
there's a place to go. So, I do think that there's a I mean, it's not like we've just been
sitting around
making
making decisions about Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I
It
did
is-
though. In the early months, I did get to painting.
You did.
Yeah,
You did.
I had to do something. Nothing had the word done attached to it, so I just started painting offices.
Yeah, that is the hardest part. Being kind of in a, hey, because in many ways it's like, I mean, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing if we didn't want people to know, love, and follow Jesus, right?
Absolutely.
People who don't know him to meet him and all of that. And so there's a piece of it where to kind of hold that back has been a challenge, but still being able to move forward in vision and those kinds of things has been challenging. But I agree, like having the time to really think through the way we want to ensure that the things that make Two Rivers are passed along to the next generation.
Right, got to mark
and-
us 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's been good. Anything else that you feel like you want to share about what's going on in your life? What's going on in your life?
My life doesn't have much going on anymore, man.
No?
I mow the lawn.
I mean,
on-
it was a huge year.
It's a
like,
huge year. Yeah, it was a lot going on from
Yeah.
kids moving in and coming home and marriages and yeah, I mean,
and now that's all in the rearview mirror.
yeah, I shared a couple weeks ago that Meg had a tough deal. She had to make a decision about her job at where she was and had prayed and God opened a door. She started her new job today.
That's
So
awesome.
Hope that goes well. So if you're out there thinking about Meg, say a word of prayer for Meg.
That's
She
awesome.
had a brand new job today. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I'm just real proud of our kids. I mean, we see them in spurts. They all four now live in Chattanooga. The girls and their husbands.
Is that
and
weird for you to say all four of them?
Yeah, I have to start referring to them as the kids. I think Terry's parents coined that phrase. So, used to be the girls. Like they pointed out, like, hey, you always referred to us as the girls. Now it's the kids. Well, Terry said, well, the kids are coming. Like Sunday morning, she's like, I got to get my church on because the kids are coming after church. So she made it to, I don't know, Ingles or Publix or somewhere, and we had an Instapot roast. It was amazing. And then we may not see him again for weeks, but like, boy, well, on a side note, that'll get Terry out of bed.
Yeah.
The kids are coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
fun.
that's exciting. That's all we do. We wait for our kids to show up so we can have a life.
That's awesome.
How about you?
Yeah, so
You had a kid come home.
kid come home from school, birthdays, it's birthday season. My wife and I were terrible planners, and so today is the day between their two birthdays, and so it's birthdays and then Christmas and then back to school for Jolie, and yeah, so Claire's
Kelly's
wrapping
all
up school.
online?
Yeah, right now they're doing their classes online, and so yesterday Claire says, hey, Dad, I know that you did a lot of work to fix up this space in the basement so we'd have a great place to work, and it's a great place, but being in the basement all day in class is terrible. So she's like, it's horrible. So yeah, she's not liking that she's having to finish up this semester in the basement, even though it's a bright, cheery workspace. It's a long day to be in computer classes all day.
That
so,
is.
yeah. I think it's just what everybody's faced. For Jolie, her whole last half of her semester, everything was just like every university. They're all online, and it's hard. It's just hard to have the interaction. It's hard to teach, and so it just makes the lack of interaction more challenging. And for us, I think every step along the way, we've maintained the ability to still interact and get out of the. I don't know what would have happened if I'd been in a place where hadn't been able to get out of the house. And the people I really feel bad for right now are people with little kids and moms. And it's been a long year. 2020 has been a long year for them, I'm sure.
And then I feel bad personally, and I talked to a couple of people this past weekend for folks at the other end of the spectrum. We've got, parents and family members and assisted living, and those people are having a really tough time.
Yeah, it's been a terrible year for that.
Yeah, really hard.
So, and for you personally, in all that with your family.
Yeah, my dad, he turns 97 on the 27th.
Pop.
Yeah, Pop. And he's done amazing until just recently. They had to ER him over to, or ambulance him over to the ER and give him a transfusion for antibodies. And he's doing better physically, but as sharp as his mind's been, and he's still sharp, I think the emotional toll is just for a lot of folks.
Yeah,
it's just being locked in a room
Yeah.
and pretty much getting your meals delivered and pushed through the door 3 times a day. It's not a life to
Yeah.
live. I mean, that's just
we're-
got to be tough.
We're not made to be alone. It's a hard reminder of that thing that we all know is true. We're just not made for that. We're made to live in relationships with people, and so isolation is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing.
Well, that was a big downer. Wah, wah.
Was it?
Well, yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Just is what it is.
It is what it is. I guess that's where we are.
Yeah. So Jen hasn't given us any questions, so we can probably anything else we need to cover? Hey,
There's one person I'm really proud of. I'm proud of a lot of people, but you got to give it up for Evan Schaefer.
yeah.
Seriously, dude. I know you don't want to be on camera. You won't be, but since the first call came through in March, man, the guy's been standing behind a camera.
He has been.
He's just. Do you do it with one eye?
Yeah.
Do you do that with one eye, or do you use both eyes?
He uses both eyes on the screen, but his
hair's grown about 12 inches. Like, I don't know that has your hair ever been this long?
Oh, high school was rough.
Oh yeah, I remember that picture. Oh yeah. But yeah, this program, as well as so many other things that we enjoy as a part of our online community, in large part come from the eyes,
Yep.
hands, and fingers of
Yeah.
Evan editing
and
away.
and even as we had the current that was Evan's idea,
it was fun.
and gave him some investment in helping people just get to know some of the stuff that's behind the scenes here, and so that was cool. And speaking of that, as we head into 2021, really don't know what the
Yeah,
future
what's
is
the
going to look like
future
for
of
us.
all this?
We don't know. Yeah, we don't
I
know.
thought when we first did this that we would do it for a few weeks and be back to church by Easter.
This could be our last show. This could be the last one.
Really?
This could be it.
Oh, wow.
We don't know. Are you sad about that? Would that make you sad?
I don't really enjoy cameras.
No.
No, I really don't. So.
But maybe we're going to talk about that, and I think there's going to be a second season of The Current. Is that true? I think that's true.
That's good.
That we're planning a second season of The Current that'll be coming into 2021. But as far as whether or not we're going to keep doing this, we don't know exactly what the way that's going to.
So what do the
gonna
Groons
go.
do New Year's Eve night?
New Year's Eve?
Yeah. Is that a thing for you?
Mm-mm.
Don't watch like the ball drop, or that's not a thing? Or
No, it's
just go to
not.
bed at 8 o'clock?
No. Wow, New Year's Eve. It's just never been. Yeah, it's never been a thing. I don't know. It depends on what. I mean, our girls likely are. I don't know. You talk about not having talked about something. We've not talked about that at all. So,
So
like,
they're
we
the
don't
age
have
where
any
they can have
traditions.
plans that don't include you.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So, we don't have traditions around any of that stuff. I mean, we have traditions around Christmas, but not around New Year's. So people are going to hear this, going to think like I'm just some like Grinch kind of person.
You're like
I'm not
anti-holiday.
really.
Well, I'm just
I'm not
saying,
really
like-
anti. I'm not really anti-holiday. I just
Well, you smile every day, so it's good.
smile every day. Yeah, I try to. I try
good.
to smile. That's it.
I think we're boring people now, so
okay.
I think we.
Hey, can we just let off with one thing? We're going to talk about the virtual quiet waters.
Oh yeah.
you say?
Absolutely.
So
What is a virtual quiet
Virtual
waters?
quiet
First,
waters.
what is quiet waters? If people are listening, going, what is quiet
Yeah.
waters? Like, what does that mean? People keep referring to that.
yeah, it's just a time for us to get together and seek God together. That's all I'd say. Like seek God in community. The virtual is going to make it like a little bit different in the sense of how do we worship God from a computer or TV or wherever we find ourselves, but just an opportunity for us to be very intentional, setting apart. We always used to say a weekend. It's really 26 hours. Has been. It's looking like it's going to be less than 24 hours. It's going to be 22 hours of time set apart for us to be intentional, seeking about God, practicing. Okay, well, what does it look like for me to practice a spiritual practice of slowing down, to be intentional, to worship, and set my heart in a place where I really want to hear what God has to say, and to me personally, maybe to our church collectively. And so we went through 2020 without him. It was right after the initial stuff back in March where we were going to do our first Quiet Waters, where we had to go, well, this is going to happen. And surely by November, we'll be able
back,
to do the
yeah.
other one. And it just wasn't in that place. And so we really landed a while back on, hey, in January, if we're going to do a Quiet Waters, it needs to be virtual. And that's worked out too. So we're going to do the best that we can and made some investments in trying to make it the best experience for people that we could make it virtually. And so it'll in many ways feel like Quiet Waters, and then some things will be a little bit different. So
I think what's really cool about this is that, like so many things this year in people's businesses, but certainly for us at church, there's things that we think we're backing into. that were probably orchestrated all along. Like
Yeah.
this has the potential for folks who've never, maybe couldn't get off an entire time, or wouldn't maybe make that step, or even have the courage to come to an event or an experience they weren't familiar with or comfortable with.
Yep.
To be able to experience that on a computer in a home, and I think it has the potential for this to be pretty massive.
Yeah.
In the sense of inviting people to what we're inviting people to in January, inviting people to just fall in love with Jesus, a deeper walk, hearing from God, and moving in their life in ways that maybe they never thought, dreamt, or imagined. And so
Yeah.
for us to have those, I think you call them summit experiences. They're so
Yeah.
important for us to have summit experiences where we are. And I think I know God does this in my life, your life, and the lives of people, but there's something unique when we come together. Like we experience it in some part on a weekend, but we experience it pretty profoundly when we say, hey, and that's why I hope it happens over a whole month in January, but also like at a Quiet Waters event, or an event like that we could come together and, just see God do some amazing stuff. So.
Yeah, and I think for people to be in a place where I can go. I think you sum it up well when you say, I might not go into that space, but okay, well, yeah, I can bring it up on my computer. And one thing that we've talked about, this isn't like, we're not treating this like, hey, we're going to do this one time and then we'll get through the pandemic and then we won't look back. It's really like an and.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
we
both
see
and
this to
going
be able
forward,
to
yeah.
enhance what we're doing going forward. And there's already people from different spaces around the country going, hey,
I'm
we
in.
want to be part of
Yeah,
that.
we're part of
And
that, yeah.
That's not something we were looking at all. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah. So with that, any parting shots? If this
Dave,
is
I
the
just wanna-
last time
Okay.
we do this show as we head into 2021, if we don't come back and do this, any parting shots?
No.
Any shots at me?
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
New Year,
Christmas.
Dave Green.
Happy New Year. Hey, this has been fun. I actually like doing this with you. So hopefully people get to see, like, we really like each other.
I
We-
do. I like you.
I actually like you.
Yeah.
And he knows, like, that's more important than me hearing I love you. Like you. So good. So anyway,
All right,
hey,
Two Rivers.
thanks for joining us. We love you, Two Rivers.
Have a good week.
See ya.